Hi, this is Nathan Cavedo from the Merced County Office of Education, your host for this episode of Community Conversations, a weekly radio show brought to you by KYOS. Community Conversations features local people talking about education, government, and community activities and issues in Merced County.
Merced County's news voice since 1936. News Talk 1480, KYOS, Merced.
Thanks for tuning in to Community Conversations on KYOS. I hope you're having a great day. Our first guest this week is Mark Pintor. He is the Vice Principal of Merced Scholars Charter School here in Merced, here to talk about the charter school and an upcoming enrollment opportunity. Mark, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, nice to have you on here. So let's just get right into it. Merced Scholars Charter School. For folks who are unaware that there is a charter school called Merced Scholars, can you describe what it is and what the mission of the school is?
We are a public school that serves 6th through 12th grade students primarily. We are a home study style program, but we provide a rigorous curriculum, and our goal is to provide students an alternative to the mainstream curriculum. It's rigorous, standards-based, and prepare students for a college career after high school.
So you said that it's primarily 6th through 12th grade. About how many students do you have enrolled?
Currently, total, we have 94 students. Of those, approximately 60 are high school and the rest middle school.
And are they predominantly homeschooled students?
They're all homeschool students. We have students meet with a certificated teacher once a week, but we also provide other classes as well. We do have some classes for math. We have tutorial classes as well. And we also have a leadership class that serves the community and participates in community activities.
And how long has this charter school been in operation?
We have been in operation for nearly a decade. We operate under the Merced County Office of Education, specifically the Career and Alternative Ed Department.
And so you said about, 2/3 of the students are in high school?
Correct.
And during their high school, is it like normal high school classes where they can do the A through G requirements?
Yes, our students are, when they arrive to our school, depending on their grade, we go over a 4-year plan with them. And in that plan, it's laid out the classes that they should take if they intend to go to college directly after high school. In that 4-year plan, we do incorporate A to G classes. Any classes that we don't offer that they need for the A to G requirement, we do have a co-enrollment with Merced Junior College where students can take class there, earn their college credit as well as their high school credit.
So while they're going to high school, they have the opportunity to also go to Merced College and take a couple classes there.
Yes, that's correct. We even offer the AccuPlacer at Merced Scholars Charter School at that time. Then we set up an appointment with a guidance counselor from Merced College, and then students can start looking at classes to try to enroll in at the Merced College while they're attending the charter school.
And so I had mentioned earlier there's an opportunity for students to enroll in this charter school. When is that?
Our semester will be ending here on January 11th. Our new semester will begin January 14th. If anybody's interested in applying, I would encourage them to call our school at 209-381-5165 and just leave your name, information, and somebody will contact you right away regarding setting up an appointment to meet and discuss our program.
And so you had said that students need to meet with a credentialed teacher at the school once a week. How long do they meet with this teacher, and what do they go over? Can you describe that to me, and how it would be different than the traditional high school experience?
Well, in a traditional high school experience, students go to school, usually have several teachers, and they attend class, and that information is given to them in the class. In our program, students have they're going to have to be a little more autonomous in their learning. They're going to be in charge of their learning. They spend their time at home doing all the learning through books that we assign them, and as I said before, the classes that we offer. In our program, students do the work at home. They bring it to school to meet with their certificated teacher once a week for about an hour a week. During that time, they go over the work from the previous week and work that's going to be coming up for the next week. And students are given feedback immediately on their grades, any assistance that they need. Unlike other independent study models, we do offer, like as I said before, tutorials and additional classes for student support. So even though the meeting's only 1 hour a week with a teacher, they do have opportunities to meet with that teacher more.
And so the high school students that you have there, what's the demographic look like? Are most of these students from Merced or from Merced and the surrounding areas?
A majority of our students come from the city of Merced, but we do serve students in Las Banas and as well as Atwater. And we are able to serve students in counties such as Madera, Stanislaus, Fresno, any county that's directly adjacent to Merced County.
And where's this facility at? I guess I should have asked that toward the beginning here, but where's the facility located here in Merced?
Well, that's actually an excellent question because not too many people realize we are here in Merced. We're located at 808 West 16th Street, which is on the corner of O and 16th, directly across from the bus depot there, the transfer station.
Yeah, that's the parking lot. Now it's a Mexican food restaurant.
Correct. I
It's
believe
right
it's
there.
called Fina Estampa.
There we go. Yes. So we've got a couple more minutes here to talk about the Merced Scholars Charter School. And again, if you could give that a phone number if anyone's interested in calling to find out about enrollment.
Yes, the number again is 209-381-5165. And just call to set up a meeting. We like to meet with every potential student because our program is slightly different than a traditional program in that parents and students and the teacher all have to be directly involved in the student's education. The parents are going to be their teachers when they are at home, and they have to make sure that the students maintain organization, get their work done, provide them a location in the house or somewhere where they can get their work done because students are going to have to study quite a bit. This is very much like a college type curriculum in that students are learning on their own. So students have to develop good study habits. And in order to do that, everybody has to know what's involved with the program. As well as I want to make one thing clear that we aren't credit recovery like traditional or some other independent study programs you may come across. Students in ours, since they're A to G courses that they'll be taking, they need to make sure that they're pretty much on track. And this is just an alternative program instead of going to the mainstream school to achieve the same goal.
And so because you have the ability for the students to have the dual enrollment with the charter school and at Merced College, does this make it easier for students to apply and go to either a CSU or a UC or some other college?
Well, it makes it easier for them to earn the college credit. Our students right now are taking a lot of the courses that that our school doesn't offer. However, what that does is it also gives them a chance, a placement into the college. It gives them that foot in. Right now, Merced Junior College is quite impacted. A lot of their classes are hard to get into. By having the students enter the school at a time in which they don't pay any fee to attend Merced College, they just have to pay for their materials. It gives them the opportunity that if after they graduate with us, they can continue attending Merced College. They're already enrolled, they already have a student ID, and they're prepared to continue attending with their education after they finish with us.
And they've got a few credits that are going to push them in the right direction.
Exactly.
Toward at least a general education transfer. You know, that's what I would think would be the most feasible way here is. And boy, I wish I would have done that and just skipped a year of junior college before I left to go on to college.
Yes, our students do have the opportunity to apply for four-year universities, and quite a few of them do as well. But this also gives them an opportunity that if they would rather go to the JC college first, they can already have they're basically a step ahead of everybody else that's applying after they graduate from high school. Because they've already earned some credit, that gives them a little bit advanced head start on those students that didn't quite make it.
Mm-hmm. So we've got just another minute here. Is there anything else you'd like to add about the college or I'm sorry, the charter school or some of the benefits that it gives students?
Well, I want everybody to understand that, we are an alternative education program, meaning that some of our students, with the budget cuts currently at the mainstream schools, the class sizes are quite large. Some of our students prefer to have smaller classes, more of that one-on-one interaction. Even though our program, our teachers meet with the students once a week, we do a lot to try to help our students in providing additional support when needed. So it's another type of education that may suit your child and it may not. So that's why I encourage people to call and to try to set up an appointment so we can go over the program. The program is specific for students that have good study skills, that are independent learners, but we also try to develop those skills in students as well. I think it's a very important skill with college, that students prepare and learn how to become organized, independent learners.
Yeah, and the earlier on a student learns that before they get into college, boy, it makes it 10 times easier.
Yes, I mean, I can tell you from experience that when you first get a student at our program, they struggle with the pace. They are very surprised by, if they're freshman, sophomore, they get a full 6 classes. They get that work every week. They're working, studying several hours a day at home, and it's quite a shock to them how much work they have. But what they develop in the long run is they develop good study skills. They become more organized. The transition I see from students when they first begin to several grades later, it's amazing. They really become self-motivated. They begin to take ownership of their own education, which is really important nowadays. And from there, the sky's the limit. They can apply for college. Most of them continue on with their education, whether it be in a public university, private, or some technical school.
And for folks who are interested in this, can you read the number off one more time, please?
Sure, not a problem. Again, if you wish to have more information on Merced Scholars Charter School, feel free to contact us at 209-381-5165.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today, Mark Pintor, the Vice Principal of Merced Scholars Charter School.
Thank you again. I appreciate it.
Merced County's news voice since 1936. News Talk 1480, KYOS, Merced.
We're back with Community Conversations on KYOS. Thanks for tuning in. Next up, we have Sherman Kishi. He is a longtime community volunteer out in Livingston, here to talk about the annual Mochi Tsuki rice pounding event, and that is on Saturday, December 29th. Sherman, thanks for joining us.
I'm glad to be here.
And did I pronounce that correctly? Mochi Tsuki?
That's very good.
Okay.
Surprisingly how good.
Close enough anyway. So Sherman, tell me, I remember a little bit of this from when I used to work at the newspaper, and we would do stories on it. Can you talk about this event and how long it's been going on in Livingston and exactly what rice pounding is?
Yes, this actually, rice pounding is an old tradition from Japan. And I can remember way back in the 1930s when our family used to go with a neighbor's family to do the same thing that we do even to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a long time tradition. And during the wartime years, of course, we were gone, and that was lost during this period. And we didn't really do anything after we came back. We came back in 1945, and they were so busy with their own lives that none of this went on at this time. But when our children got older, in the 70s, they were young adults at the time. They decided that they would like to renew this tradition. And so they renewed the tradition through our church, which is the center of our activities, which is the Livingston United Methodist Church.
Okay.
And they started the rice pounding in the 70s. And this went on until they started to go to college. And then it sort of stopped again. And so way back much later than that, in the early 90s, we decided we would revive this again. And so since then, we've been doing it continuously until we missed last year, but over the years, we've been doing it every year.
So, and can you explain exactly what rice pounding is? Is this similar to sticky rice or?
You have to use what they call the sweet rice.
Uh-huh.
If you use ordinary rice, it just won't work.
Okay.
So you have to use the sweet rice. And the sweet rice is first washed about 2 or 3 days before. I think the new powder that they put on the rice makes it so that you really don't need to wash it, but we still do wash it a little bit. And then we soak it for about 2 days. We soak the rice for about 2 days. And then in the meantime, we're preparing everything to start pounding. And we have what we call sados, which are boxes that are made, and they're about a foot by a foot by about 4 inches high. And they have a straw mat, not a straw mat, I'm sorry, a bamboo mat in the bottom of it. And then they're stacked. And what we do is we stack it on top of steaming water that we boil. Okay, and this water is boiled and steam comes up through the mats, and in about an hour, it's cooked enough so that it can be handled to be pounded. And really, in the original method of doing it, everything was pounded. But when you start pounding at the beginning, it splashes very badly.
And that's got to be pretty hot water.
Yes, and it's very hot. This is very, very hot, you know. And so lately, what we've been doing is we've been taking it, putting it through a grinder one time, like a meat grinder, and then we pound it after that. And actually, we have mallets that we've used for many years, and we have what they call usus, which are the bowls. They're actually granite bowls, and it's pounded in the granite bowl. And once it's pounded enough, then we take it inside. Then then ladies take over from there. They break it into small pieces, round pieces, and these are patted and made into little patties. And there are two kinds of mochi that is made. One is called amochi, which has a sweet bean paste in it. And
Yum, that sounds good.
And it is good. It's very sweet and very good. And when it's fresh, it is absolutely delicious. We do sell those. We sell those for $1.50 a piece this year. And then the regular mochi, which is made into little patties, we sell for $4 a pound. And there's about 6 or 7 of those in a pound. And so that's what we do, and try to make a little money at our church, as well as maintain this tradition that goes on. And we get many, many people that come to observe this during the day that we do this.
And this is on Saturday, December 29th at Livingston, which church?
It's the Livingston United Methodist Church, which is just about less than a mile out of town.
Okay.
It's right on Olive Avenue, and it's, I think most local people know where it is.
Yes, yes. And we just have about 30 seconds left here. The one question I have is how do you serve this rice? Do you serve it with traditional Japanese food, or?
You could do several things. You could once it's finished, you have to freeze it right away because it starts to mold. It molds very quickly. So you have to freeze it, and in order to make it palatable, you can either put it in the microwave or put it on a frying pan and heat it up, make it soft, and then you could eat it by mixing it with soy sauce and sugar or some other things that we have, or else once it's done like this at New Year's, it's a normal part of our New Year's food, which is put into a soup and is eaten at the beginning of the new year.
Oh, so it's timely. Then there's a tradition surrounding New Year's.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
It's for the New Year's, and in many areas they make little patties, larger and smaller patties that they stack up. And in the old days, they used to put it before their little shrine in their home, and it was sort of a celebration like that. Yes.
Wow. Okay. So again, it's on Saturday, December 29th. It's typically in the morning, isn't it?
Well, we start in the morning, but it generally takes us until about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We do about 500 pounds of raw rice.
Wow.
So it takes a little while to do this. And I think there's about 120 batches that we actually do.
So it'd probably be good to come mid or early afternoon?
No, come later in the morning would be just perfect if you want to see it. Probably about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and we'll go on until about 3 o'clock.
All right.
So.
Great. So again, that's Saturday, December 29th at Livingston United Methodist Church on Olive Avenue, out there
correct.
a little bit outside of town. But really fun event. You could go and get the mochi. There's 2 different kinds, you said? There's
yes.
the sweet one, that's $1.50 per patty. And the other one, the traditional mochi, is $4 per pound.
That's correct.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on and talking about this. Sherman Kishi, a longtime Livingston community volunteer. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you.
Merced County's news voice since 1936. News Talk 1480, KYOS, Merced.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KYOS. Thanks for tuning in. Next up, we have Laura Phillips, the Executive Director of the Merced County Arts Council, here to talk about the state of the council's finances and some plans for the Multicultural Arts Center and how we can make it more sustainable. Laura, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Nathan.
And I know I said a lot right there, but that this has been a topic in the paper over, I'm going to say, at least the past month or so. And I've heard a lot of talk about it in the arts community. And number one, I'd like to say that you guys really do have a gem down there. The Multicultural Arts Center, for people who aren't familiar with it, is a wealth of art. You have the whole first floor that has whatever current art installation is up, and then the second floor, which is another art installation, you have your black box theater there that has a couple of different uses, and then that third floor is a bunch of classroom and other spaces that people probably don't know about unless they've taken a class up there. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on the Multicultural Arts Center. Great space. But let's talk about this, the council's finances, and I guess kind of how things have come to this point where it doesn't look like things are not very sustainable the way that they're going.
Yeah, it's been a challenge. We've run a deficit for the past 4 years, and we just haven't seen the local donations, the individual donations, corporate donations have been way down because of the economy, and then grants got just so much more competitive with the economic downturn because everyone was, experiencing the same thing in the donations declining.
Well, I know that in the past decade, you guys have seen a tremendous amount of money decline from the state, and that was a big part of it. I used to live across the street at the Hotel Tugga, so we used to go to shows at the Art Center all the time, and there used to be a lot more shows there, but times were much better. You guys had more money coming in, and it was just easier to take a risk on a show, whereas nowadays, you can't really do that.
Exactly, and we lost some staff as well, so that decreases our ability to program the shows and things, and we also pulled back. We cut a lot in the last 3 years, and part of that was programming. So we do offer fewer things to the community, and which is kind of a catch-22 because we need to give people a reason to come to the Art Center, because you're right, the galleries have amazing exhibits right now. There's a beautiful exhibit by the members of CHA, huge pieces, and it's all about them moving out and taking risks into things they haven't done before. And then on the second floor gallery we have the California Fiber Artists. They're a group from LA, and their stuff is just really creepily amazing. It's
And they're called the Fiber Artists?
California Fiber Artists.
Huh.
Yeah, they're quilts and pine needle baskets, really, really interesting things. And then I do have to mention the Enrichment Center on the third floor. That's our day program for adults with developmental disabilities.
And that program has been there for some time now.
I don't know how long, but it's we're at capacity right now, and Shannon Essig, who is the director, is just doing a great job.
No, she does do a tremendous job. So what are some of your ideas on how the Art Center can either get more funding or create more sustainable practices so that because I felt like this happened about a year and a half ago, and I helped to put on a fundraiser, and we had a heck of a time. That was a fun 24 hours. I went to a couple different events, and then we Ironwood Court, where I live, we hosted our own event, and we brought in quite a few folks. Some folks came in and said, here's 20, here's $40. I don't really need anything, but I want to support arts in the community. What are some ideas you have on how we can get the Art Center going again?
Well, one thing I'd really like to see is to be able to offer more rental spaces to arts organizations or individuals in the community. I'm talking to a couple different organizations right now. We have a lot of space and a lot of empty, wonderful rooms that I really think could be utilized to bring in a monthly income. And then another thing we are doing is we're going to start offering more classes. We had kids classes this fall, really well attended, and in the spring we're planning more kids classes and adult classes. And that employs artists, which is, pays, gets money into the economy, and also I think fills a real need in the community.
And I'd imagine that if you bring these folks in for a class or for some event, they're going to walk around the gallery. They're going to see everything that you have to offer. Well, hopefully they will. It seems to me, I've been to a couple of shows there, a Playhouse Merced show, and I think nearly every show that the Downtown Life magazine has hosted at the Art Center. And you do see people just kind of wandering around. Some of them, because the shows are all ages, it definitely creates a different atmosphere than if you were to go to a show at a bar. And that's something that downtown Merced has been lacking for a while, is having an all ages venue. So the Art Center is the perfect place for that.
Yeah, we have another DLM show on the 14th, and I hope that will also be the launch of the Men of Merced calendar. I don't know if your listeners know about that, but there's great photographs of lots of 12 prominent downtown citizens. And yeah, I love the all ages show. The last time the DLM anniversary show, I got to hold Oscar Torres' baby.
Oh, yeah,
while he
I saw
listened
his
to the
baby
music.
there.
Yeah.
I brought both of my kids too,
Oh,
and
good.
they had a great time. A little bit late for them. We had to leave at about 10:15,
Well-
just because they're almost falling asleep on me there. But the show is on. It's actually on December 21st, which could be the last day of the world if the Mayan calendar is correct.
I think we
And,
should see it out together.
And that is R.C. Essig's incredibly egotistical birthday party, where he will be performing in 4 different bands. He'll probably be on stage pretty much the whole night, so that'll be an amazing one. But so bringing more classes for both youth and adult to the Art Center is something that I think the whole community could benefit from.
Yeah, and we're also trying to develop a mentorship program with UC Merced, and working with at-risk girls in the area of the arts.
Wow, so that's some good ideas on the table. It really is going to take community support for this to keep going.
And it'll take a while, a while to build the programs, a while to develop a new strategic plan. Our strategic plan is old now, and and that strategic plan will take into account the completely changed population of Merced with the UC and how much younger we've gotten.
Well, that's what I was going to say. How much younger we've gotten, and how much different art is consumed now. And before, let me qualify that statement, that the traditional way that people view art is never going to change. But I feel like because of technology, especially the younger generation, is consuming their art differently than they used to. So it's definitely important to keep up with that idea. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, for the first time this year, GIFs were a part of the Miami Art Show. So
Oh.
yeah, yeah, we've changed.
Yeah, good. Okay, we've got just another minute here, Laura. If folks want to become a member of the Arts Council, if they want to join and get on board, how can they do that?
They can go to our website. That's www.artsmerced.org, or they can call the office, and that's
388-1090.
thank you.
I've called there a couple times.
I was about to give out my home number.
So again, we need to support the arts in this community. It is extremely important, and you have a gem down there. I hope that you can come back on again. Maybe next time bring an artist or bring one of your staff members. Just talk about some of the programs we have going there, or brainstorm some ideas. So Laura Phillips, Executive Director of the Merced County Arts Council. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, Nathan.
Merced County's news voice since 1936. News Talk 1480, KYOS, Merced.
All right, we're back with Community Conversations on KYOS. Thanks for joining us. Our next guest is Garland Barnes, president of Merced Talk Show Toastmasters, here to talk about the organization and the Merced Club. Garland, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So, Merced Talk Show Toastmasters, for folks who are unfamiliar with Toastmasters, can you describe it?
Of course, I became a member myself about 2.5, 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And Toastmasters was founded by a guy by the name of Ralph Smedley in 1924. He saw a need at the YMCA. The young men there were not able to express themselves well when they interviewed for jobs, etc. And he decided to help them improve their communication skills. So it was started in 1924. It has 270,000 members. It has 13,000 clubs worldwide. It's international.
Okay, it's international.
Yes, and and it's also located in 116 countries.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this organization, the basic idea is to help improve communication skills
And leadership skills.
and leadership skills.
And listening too, of course.
Yes, because listening is just as important as communication.
More important.
Yeah, that is a huge
It's
part of
more-
communication.
Yes.
So how often do you guys meet?
We meet on Wednesday at Merced Talk Show Club on the corner of G and Main Street at the barbecue pit.
Okay.
And the time we meet is 5:45, and we last for 1 hour only. That's the rules. We don't go overtime, and we have a great time. We start on time and we close on time.
And what is a typical meeting like?
Well, a typical meeting, we call the meeting to order, and we have invocation and pledge, and then we begin to we have order of business of the day, and then we start our meeting, and then we have a toastmaster, a person in charge. The president calls the toastmaster. I'm the president. I call the toastmasters up. He or she has a outline of how the meeting should go. And first we start off with table topics, and table topics to get the members and visitors to get up and speak impromptu, and they might get up and speak for 1 or 2 minutes, and get them used to speaking before a group. So we do that, and then from that we go into the speeches of the night, and some of the experienced members will give a 5 to 7 minutes or 10 to 12 minute speech. And then after that, during that time, we have evaluators. Evaluator will evaluate you on your speech, how well you done. Did you look at the audience? Did you have voice control? Did you show expression with your hand? And
So body language,
yeah, body language,
dynamics, all
dynamics,
Yeah,
certainly.
okay.
And which is great, and it helps us all to work on all our nonverbals as well as our verbals.
Right, and I'll tell you what, I've been hosting this radio show for about 2.5 years now, and it has I hope it's increased my communication abilities and reduced the amount of times that I use the phrases or And when you
Yes.
listen to yourself back, you can hear those, and they just glare out there.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, if folks are interested in joining, would they contact you?
Certainly, they can contact me, Garland Barnes, at 209-947-3201, or they can email me at garland@garlandbarnes.com, and I will respond to their email. And just show up over at the club, at the restaurant, at barbecue pit there at around 5:30, 1:45 we start.
And did you say that's on Fridays?
On Wednesdays.
On Wednesdays, okay.
Yeah,
so
every Wednesday at 5:45 we meet at the barbecue pit.
Okay, so Wednesday evening at the barbecue pit at 5:45. And that's over there on the corner of G and Main Street. And again, you can call Garland directly at 209-947-3201. Garland, we've just got about another minute here left. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, certainly, it's changed my life. I know we have read about other people that are former Toastmasters people, and they've said how Toastmasters improved their communication skills, at home with the kids, on the job, interviewing. It is, man, I mean, I just enjoy my life a lot better now that I'm able to relax more and have more confidence in what I have to say to people. They seem to respond to me much better. I have a very good friend, Roberta Flanagan, in town, and she joined, and we are so happy to have her. She's my employee, friend, mentor, all the above, and she is just a super person to know, and I just enjoy it. My family and everybody else is responding to me now differently than 2 years ago, and I'm looking to go to Oprah show too. So,
Well, that's a great experience for you to share with us. Sounds like a pretty good forum for folks who are scared or have an issue with public speaking, which there are a lot, to get up in front of a forum like that and to get some kind of criticism and constructive criticism. That's what I was looking for.
Evaluator,
Yes, the evaluator gives them constructive criticism.
Certainly, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Garland Barnes, president of Merced Talk Show Toastmasters.
Merced County's news voice since 1936. News Talk 1480, KYOS, Merced.
We're back with Community Conversations on KYOS. Thanks for tuning in. Next up, we have Christy Caseri, Merced County Animal Shelter Supervisor, and Angelo Lamas, who's with Merced County. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
You're welcome.
So, Christy, you work out at the animal shelter at Castle Airport. I've been out there. Great facility. But it also makes me kind of sad to go out there because you see all these animals that are really looking for homes. So I have seen a lot of campaigns about this, especially right around the holiday season, of why people should go to an animal shelter to adopt an animal instead of buying one from a breeder. Can you talk about that?
I can. First of all, I don't believe you should buy anybody a puppy or a kitten for a present at Christmas any more than I think you should give somebody a newborn baby at Christmas for a gift. But with that said, it does save a life to choose a pet from the animal shelter. We have very knowledgeable staff that will help you find the pet that's suited to your family. You can actually bring your other family members and your other pets to the shelter, and they can make sure that it's going to be a good fit, that they get along with each other. And we have a lot of purebred dogs and cats too.
You do, and they're updated on the website all the time. You guys do a great job of that.
We have a volunteer group that does all of our the really nice photography out there, and then we redo our website to reflect that.
Okay. Yeah, I've looked before. I'm looking for a corgi right now. So I always check that one first. We're not going to go and get a corgi anywhere else unless you guys get one here or one of the local shelters does within about a 100-mile radius.
We'll keep you in mind.
Please do. So to get, let's say I do find my corgi there on the website and I go down, what is the adoption fee?
The adoption fee is $110 if it's an unaltered animal. That does include the surgery, all of the animals' vaccinations, and a microchip with national registration.
So the animal shelter does provide those microchips.
We do provide those microchips. Those microchips are $15, and that includes registration, and that's any day of the week during normal business hours.
So let me ask you this: what's the capacity there at the animal shelter?
For dogs, it's 150 if they're individually housed in the kennels. And for cats, it's about the same.
And how many animals do you get? Let's say, I'm sure this is really, it varies quite a bit depending on what time of the year. And I'm sure you get more after the 4th of July, for example.
We do get more after the 4th of July and New Year's because of the fireworks.
Right. So let's say on a weekly basis, how many stray dogs or cats do you guys get?
It can vary from 10 to up to 30 dogs in a day. Wow. And the same for cats.
That is a staggering amount of animals.
It's a lot of animals. And we bring in between 10 and 12,000 animals per year.
What should folks do if they see a stray animal out on the road?
They should call animal control to come pick it up, or they should bring the animal to the shelter so we can scan it and see if it has a microchip and make sure it's healthy, and they can leave it there with us. Or we can tell them the steps to take to try to find the owner.
And how many of those animals that come into the shelter typically do have a microchip?
Probably 10%.
Okay, so not too many, really.
Not too many, but it does make a difference.
And what do you see as far as a breed of, let's say, dog? What's the largest breed of dog that you see come in there?
As in size or numbers?
As in, I guess a pit bull or a chihuahua. What kind of dogs do you see in there? the most?
Those two breeds are
Those two
typically
breeds,
the,
huh?
the
Yeah.
most.
When I was looking on the website, it seemed like those were the largest population there.
Yes, they are.
Okay, here. So you guys are located out at Castle, and how exactly do you get there? I remember getting lost one time trying to get out there.
If you just come towards Atwater from Merced on Santa Fe, it's real easy to find. It's at the Old Castle Air Force Base. You take Spaceport entry to get there. The address is 2150 Shuttle Drive, and there's signs guiding you in also.
Okay, and so during the Christmas holidays, are you guys open?
We are closed from December 24th through the 28th and December 31st for furloughs.
Okay. And I guess this is kind of where I'm going to direct some of my questions over to Angelo, who's been sitting here very patiently. The county will be closed during the week of Christmas for furloughs. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And can you provide more information about that, or how many days?
Yeah. Actually, December 25th and January 1st are both county holidays, but the remaining days of that week of December 24th will be furlough days, and the county will be closed. Most of its operations will be closed, and Monday, December 31st, with normal county operations resuming on Wednesday, January 2nd.
So what county departments would be affected by these furlough days?
Actually, most services and functions like the library, parks, planning, permitting, and other administrative functions are closed, but departments that are considered critical and mandated, like public safety and some social services related programs, will be available during furloughs.
And I would imagine probably the roads, the public works. That will those guys be on furlough too?
Most of those, the regular operations will be closed, but there'll be emergency services available. For example, if there's a hazard in the road, usually it's law enforcement that's contacted, and they'll contact the appropriate county representatives.
And let me ask you this. It's kind of I think I know the answer, but why is the county having furlough days?
Well, furlough days was one way, in conjunction with other ways, that the county was able to meet its fiscal, its budgetary challenges that we were facing, and furloughs we've implemented over a 2-year period, and this was just one of many ways that we're facing that.
So, if someone does need some of these county services during those furlough days, what suggestion do you have?
I would recommend that they don't wait until just before the week of Christmas. I would suggest that they contact that county department immediately, and if they have any questions, they can go to our website. We'll have we'll show the departments that are available, and if they have any questions, I'd recommend they contact that department to ask them about their availability. But go in now if you can.
Okay, so get there early. That's
Yes.
That's what you're really saying here.
And as for animal control, we're going to be open partial days on December 27th and December 31st. We don't want people's animals stuck at the shelter through the holidays. We want to give them an opportunity to come and reclaim them. So we will be open from 8 to 12 on those days.
And speaking of the animal shelter, Chrissy, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share on that? We're just about out of time.
I just want people to spay and neuter their pets, and if you lose your pet, go look for it.
And microchip your pet.
Yes.
That's something I have to
Yes.
say. That and spay or neuter them so that it doesn't help this problem. It
Right.
really is a huge problem when people don't spay and neuter their pets. Okay, well, thanks for coming on and talking about this, and I'm going to contact you about this corgi, see if you guys have
Absolutely.
one come wandering in. Christy Casari, Merced County Animal Shelter Supervisor, and Angelo Lamas with Merced County. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Merced County's news voice since 1936. News Talk 1480, KYOS, Merced.
We're back with Community Conversations on KYOS. Thanks for tuning in. Our next guest is Hank Moore, Merced County Fire Marshal, here to give some holiday safety tips. Hank, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I think it's been about a year since I've talked with you.
Yes, yeah, it's been a while.
So what are some tips? Obviously, during the holiday season, there's a lot of a lot more electricity just on the house and lights up everywhere. You know, you've got fresh trees in the house, so kind of some things that could potentially be hazards. What are some tips you have?
Well, a lot of times just taking down the ornaments or putting up those lights could be somewhat dangerous at times. And even at the end when you're taking them down and you're in a hurry, I can tell you from past experience. But falling's not a good thing. But typically, it's always a good idea to make sure you make sure your ladder's stable and don't be standing on folding chairs. And I think back in 2010, they said there was like 13,000 people that were injured nationwide just from Christmas-related injuries, such as, taking down lights and ornaments and hanging trees. So it's something to think about.
It is. And when I see how many folks really go all out with their Christmas decorations, and they've got this huge set of reindeer with Santa on the roof, I could
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know how the heck they do that, but just be careful when you're putting those things up.
Absolutely, and that's what we want to do is remind everybody. We want to remind you just electrical hazards alone. Dealing with frayed Christmas lights, anything that check the insulation around the cords.
Don't plug in too much in one socket either.
That's very true. Yeah, we've had actually a couple fires last year from that. We always remind everybody to constantly read the instructions. They're there for a reason, and make sure you don't overload your circuits. One of the big things that a lot of people forget is just make sure that when you're plugging them in, that they're plugged into like a GFI receptacle. I mean, they have cords that have them built in now. So you don't want to get shocked.
So let's see here. And what about candles? I know we don't have any candles in my house. Actually, we have two, but they're far away from the Christmas tree, which is important.
Yes, yeah. I mean, they have candles now that even look like candles and they flicker like candles, and yet they're just battery operated. But if you need a candle, we always remind everybody, keep them away from the trees, any combustibles. Always keep them in sight. Always make sure that if you do leave the room or go to bed, make sure they're out. I'm very skeptical about having candles in the kitchen underneath kitchen cabinets because they emit heat, and you never know if it can catch something on fire. So definitely it's a good idea. Also I would elaborate on just your ornaments. If you have small children and you have ornaments that can break off real easy, that can possibly cause a choking hazard, things like that you really need to be a little aware of. And of course, purchasing those live trees, making sure they're nice and green.
Yes, we got one of those, and boy, they're heavy.
Yeah,
that was
thing.
quite a haul inside. And something that I had forgot about until I think that it was up for 2 days was watering the tree, because I know that once it dries out, boy, those things could really just catch and go.
Yeah, when you buy them, it's always a good idea to check the needles, make sure that they don't fall off. The limbs should bend easily. They should be, fresh and smell fresh. But you don't want, if you see the needles that they're coming off the tree, then don't purchase it. And if it's getting that dry inside the house, you need to also make sure that you probably should be getting it out of the house, because they're very, very flammable when they get any sort of ignition source, fire, anything.
So kind of changing modes here, let's talk about smoke alarms and carbon monoxide alarms. I think the smoke alarms are kind of the traditional one, but carbon monoxide, not so much. If you've got an older home, it probably doesn't have one of those in it.
Right, yeah. And you probably, like we always tell everyone every year, and even last year's radio spot we always tell everybody, biggest thing we would like you guys to do, and always have a program in place to change the batteries and make sure that they're functional. A lot of people don't know they should change out their smoke alarms if they're over 10 years of age. But the new state law is requiring, carbon monoxide detectors in homes now. So if you have any fuel-fired burning appliances, any attached garages, pretty much you're going to need to have a CO alarm in your house.
And how do those differ from a smoke alarm? I mean, obviously they register the amount of carbon monoxide in the air.
Right, exactly. So they're not there to detect smoke. It's not a substitute for smoke alarms, and smoke alarms definitely not a substitute for CO alarms. And so if there is any fuel burning appliance such as a water heater or something, if it's faulty or, emitting excessive amounts of carbon monoxide, they're going to detect that, or if it's leaking up through the floor, or someone's running the car in the garage and all the doors are shut, those will detect that carbon monoxide. But yeah, it's a good idea to get those in your house, because it's not only a safety thing, but it is state law. And now, as of 2013, the new year coming up, it will also be required in apartment houses now. So anyone renting apartments should expect to see that CO alarms be installed if there's a fuel-fired burning appliance, as they say.
Which is probably most of them, I'd imagine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we always, again, there is a new state law now that they're changing the way they're going to do smoke alarms and how they're going to be sold in California now. So you're going to see smoke alarms being sold with 10-year life batteries in them, and with built-in features that are typically not in your older smoke alarms.
Mm-hmm. So the 10-year battery life, after that battery's done, you have
That's
to check it?
Exactly,
That's it?
right. Yeah, and it kind of goes in line with the current code and law now that, and it's not really a code per se, but they're saying that you have to do it as per manufacturer's instructions. But if you ever look on the smoke alarms instructions, always say replace after 10 years of use anyway.
Never thought about that before.
So yeah, because their sensitivity isn't as good. So this new thing now, it'll kind of just be, I don't have to worry about my batteries all the time. And that's going to be a real nice thing, because that's one of the biggest problems. A lot of people forget to change their batteries, or they disconnect them, and that's just not a good thing.
So we've got just another minute left here. Hank, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, we just want to wish everyone a really safe holiday season. We're always there here in the county, and even any fire department throughout our area, is that if you have any questions, you can always stop by and or visit our website. On our webpage, it's co.merced.ca.us. That's the Merced County website. It's a great wealth of information, not only just for fire, but just all kinds of services that the county provides. And just navigate your way to our fire department tab, and you'll see we have a lot of safety information now provided for the customers of our county.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us, and I too wish everyone a happy and safe holiday season. Hank Moore, Merced County Fire Marshal.
Thank you.
Merced County's news voice since 1936. News Talk 1480, KYOS, Merced.